Oh, hey there. My name's Professor. This is my assistant My what? This is my assistant Ditto, and if you guys notice that Pokemon's in kind of a weird spot right now, it feels like just yesterday I was coming to blows with middle-aged parents battling furiously for the last pack of X and Y Steam Siege that had been left over on the Target shelf. Whatever happened to all that? You guys remember the height of COVID when everyone and their mother was going out of their way for Pokemon products? Because I certainly do. It seems like everything has kind of died down since then, which is really good because I can now satisfy my addiction without having to punch children in the face. I mean, I do that anyway, but like, you get what I'm going for. I mean, if I can be completely honest, I'm a little disappointed that the excitement around the franchise has died down as much as it has, but I kind of miss the competition. If only there was a place that we could go where people were still actively at one another's throats trying to get their hands on the latest and greatest Pokemon products. So anyway, I'm going to be in Houston this weekend for CollectCon. In case you're still unaware, CollectCon is one of many awesome collector-themed conventions that happens all across the country, and it just so happens to be taking place in Houston, Texas this weekend, April 6th and 7th, and Ditto and I will be in attendance.
And this is the part of the video when everyone realizes that the dates don't add up. That's because when I originally posted this video, things were very different. I was planning on going to CollectCon, and this video was supposed to go out to all my subscribers and not get blacklisted. And it did. As in, the original version of this video is up on my YouTube channel right now, and nobody can see it except for me. And it's public. It's not private. It's not unlisted. It's just invisible. So this is my second attempt at getting this content to you guys. Feel free to watch till the end, just to stick it to old YouTube. And I'm sorry for this sudden stop. Anyway, I like cheese.
Which is pretty fun. We've been to a few in the past, and they've always been really positive and exciting experiences. But I've mostly kept the interesting side of conventions and the people who attend them to myself. That all changes today, because Ditto and I would like to talk about some of the craziest things that have ever happened to us at conventions. But before we do that, let's move over to a more desirable background. Now, when it comes to conventions, Ditto and I haven't always attended them with Pokemon on our mind. That's actually something that's only happened recently. I've been attending conventions since around 2015 and started at a convention known as Salt Lake FanX. Back in the day, Salt Lake had two conventions. One was Salt Lake Comic-Con, the other one was Salt Lake FanX, until San Diego came in and said, we actually own the copyright to that word, you can't use it. And Salt Lake FanX is, I believe, still happening to this day. Back when I went in 2015, it was a very fun event. I was a teenager. I had made a costume out of stuff I'd gotten from a Deseret Industries, which is a local thrift store all across Utah. And I just really wanted to get out on a stage and show everybody this really cool suit that I'd put a lot of work into. And then I accidentally won $200. Long story short, I go out on stage. I'm the last person in line of the last category because I misread what each category was and accidentally put myself in the Masters category for my first cosplay event. There was a $1,000 cash prize. What do you expect? Anyway, I go out on stage, do my thing, get off stage, and expect that to be the end of it. It was the end of the night. The event had ended at about 5 or 6 o'clock. It was now 9:30. My friends who were in the audience had ridden in my car with me. They were waiting on me to go home. I could feel my ankles bleeding because part of my outfit, as you can see from this image right here, was motocross boots, but they didn't have any lining on the inside of them. So they were rubbing my ankles all day long. I could feel them bleeding. I didn't want to keep wearing them, and then I get called back on stage. For what exactly? The crowd favorite category. Whoever the audience cheers for the loudest will win $100 cash prize, a medal, and a giant check. I am going head to head with someone who looks exactly like Edward Scissorhands and a guy dressed as Bowser, but his outfit is made out of those long balloons that he has carefully tied and crafted together. His suit was so cool. Not only did I cheer for him, and I'm going head to head against him, but the volunteers for this event, before we had even begun to judge who the winner could be, before the audience had even begun to cheer, they come out and they hand Bowser a medal and a giant check as if he's already won. And everybody was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then the audience starts cheering. They cheer for the Edward Scissorhands girl, they cheer for me, and then they cheer for the Bowser person. And you know what happens after that? Surely they wouldn't take the check and the medal from Bowser. He clearly won. They wouldn't just take it from him and give it to somebody else. That would be insane. That would be cruel. It's literally in front of hundreds of people. Everybody knows that Bowser's won, right? They're not gonna do my boy like that, right? They're not just gonna take it from him, are they? Yeah, so I won. Apparently my friends in the audience screamed so loud that they had already decided who the winner was before I even came out on stage. So anyway, I've got a giant check that I have to carry on top of all my other cosplay stuff, because when I made the suit originally, I didn't design it with functionality in mind. I designed it with coolness in mind, which means if I wanted to sit down, I had to take the suit apart. But at least that's the end of it, right? I don't have to go back out on stage again, right? I'm not going back on stage. I did. This is for most original, because I didn't have a name for my character and I just made everything up on the fly. So just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time and for having friends with very strong vocal cords, I walked away from Salt Lake FanX 2015 with an extra $200 in my pocket. Cool. Remember when $200 was a lot of money? But surely that's the craziest thing that's ever happened to me at a convention, right? I mean, what else could happen? A couple of fans meet me in real life and then we film a video where they chuck things at my face? So anyway, I met some fans in real life and they chucked some things at my face. This is, we'll call him Bo, and this is Bo's shirt that he made for me. Bo is one of my longest running fans, and he and his grandparents reached out to me and asked if they could meet me at a convention I was making an appearance at. So naturally, not seeing anything else to do, I said, sure. It was going to be in a public place. I would have my camera rolling pretty much the entire time with their permission. What could go wrong? Well, after Bo and I decided to, make the video where he throws something in my head, we decided that it would be fun to go back into the convention and try some of the activities that they had laid out for everybody. One of those activities was laser tag, and I was so eager to show off to one of my biggest fans, because I'm so good at laser tag. Man, I can shoot a laser like it's nobody's business. Watch, I'll do it right now. Pew, pew, pew. So good at laser tag. So Bo and I jump into this laser tag event and we get up with a couple other cosplayers and we're just excited. We're ready to go. We are gonna win this game like it's nobody's business. And then we find out who our opponents are. Bo and I and a couple other cosplayers will be playing laser tag against the freaking 501st Division, a group of adult Star Wars cosplayers who dress up as, among other things, stormtroopers and attend events across the entire world, mostly charity events, where they promote goodwill to all and probably save puppies and pet kittens. And they're also really, really good at shooting things. They're canonical stormtroopers. All right, they're not like the ones you see in A New Hope. They hit every shot, and hit every shot they did. The 501st steamrolled us so bad that they didn't even tell our side what our score was. So I left a really good impression for Mr. Bo. I still wear his shirt every now and then because it's a good shirt. But yeah, if you ever meet me in real life, I might drag you into a laser tag event against the 501st. So. But accidentally winning $200 and losing to the freaking 501st in laser tag in front of one of my biggest fans is nothing. I mean, surely I've never had an interesting experience with someone who's in the celebrity sphere, right? I pulled one of the nastiest pranks I could on Erica Schrodinger, aka the voice actress for Sylveon. Now, for anyone who's not up to know, I don't exactly like Sylveon. In fact, I've kind of gone out of my way to redesign it, smear it, and do everything I can to make it clear that I don't like that particular Pokemon. And I could think of nothing better to do with my time than to get an autograph and a few photos with the legendary voice actress for the character that I had spent so much time ripping on. She probably doesn't care. She has no idea who I am. She has liked a few of my videos on Instagram, so she's clearly kind of in on the joke. But I find it really, really funny that whenever someone tries to say, oh, I guess you really do hate Sylveon, I can just whip out my 2 signed Sylveon cards where she directly addressed, here, let me get them for you, to Professor and Ditto from Sylveon herself, right there in the front. Without knowing it, she gave me full immunity to any and all criticism that can ever be leveled at me. From now on, whenever someone sends me a death threat or says, do you actually like Sylveon? I could just pull those 2 cards out, flash them in front of my face and go, I don't know, you tell me. In all seriousness, she is so cool in real life. If you ever get the chance to meet her, please tell her that the Professor and Ditto say hi. Okay, so I get along with most celebrities, but what about the actual vendors that attend conventions? Have I ever had any weird interactions with them that's worthy of making this entire video? Well, are you guys familiar with Thick Charizard? Goat Breakers is my boy. He's there at every single Collecticon that ever happens across the country. He handles a lot of the photography for these events, and he's got a banger of a YouTube channel, and he deserves way more attention and subscribers than he has. I try to spend time with him when I can, and he and the Giving Bulbasaur and I were walking around at the end of the last Collecticon I went to, again in October, and we were watching as the vendors were packing everything up and going away. I found a particular item that made poor Goat Breakers and the Giving Bulbasaur look at me like I'd just grown a 3rd head. You see, there are a few vendors that offer items that you can really only get off of like Temu or Alibaba. And one of those items was something so juicy, so plump, so cool that I just had to have it in that exact moment. And as soon as I bought it for $30 US, this man looked at me and said, and I quote, I can't believe you bought that. And in hindsight, I have no regrets. Look at this thing. That's a good butt right there. Immediately after I purchased that blanket, the Giving Bulbasaur and Goat Breakers took a few steps away from me to try and distance themselves from the crazy man with a thick Charizard blanket, which again, I totally understand. And that would be the end of the story, if not for what happened next. A few teenagers and their grandma ran up to me. Again, I'm not in my lab coat at the time. Ditto has been put back in the vehicle that we rented and didn't return. I am just holding the thick Zard blanket. And these 2 teenage boys come running up to me, and the first thing out of their mouth is, can we get a picture? The 3 of us are then caught in one of the most awkward interactions I've ever had, as the 2 teenagers argue back and forth with their grandma, who was just there to babysit, I'm sure, as they try to get her to take a picture of them with the dude and the thick Charizard blanket. Eventually, they won the argument, somehow, even though I tried to take the grandma's side, because the last thing I want to do is come between anyone and their grandma. But lo and behold, she eventually caved and snapped a picture. And somewhere out there, there is a photograph of me, not in my lab coat, holding a thick Charizard blanket with 2 teenage boys on either side of me. My poor FBI agent.